Welcome to the Afterlight Podcast with me, Lauren Grace, a spiritual podcast full of stories and conversations that prove we're never alone. The Afterlight Podcast aims to inspire and educate. Remember, you are the authority on your own life. I encourage you to run everything through your own filter, to take what resonates, and I also urge you to do your own research and consult with qualified professionals for advice on your personal situation. The opinions shared by guests are their own, and any advice by our guests or by me is not a substitute for professional guidance. Thank you so much for listening, and I enjoy journeying back with you to the afterlight. Enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to the Afterlight Podcast. I'm Lauren Grace and I'm joined today by Sheila Marie. Sheila is a world-renowned forensic medium who has made significant impact in the field of criminal investigations, both nationally and internationally. Collaborating with the FBI and various law enforcement agencies worldwide, Sheila has played a vital role in solving numerous notorious world events, missing person cases, and both recent and cold criminal investigations. Sheila also served as a police officer for over 15 years. She is reputed within the police community and known as the medium with integrity. Her exceptional abilities have effectively linked agencies and families with crucial data, landmarks, maps, and guidance. To date, she is credited with resolving over 400 high-profile criminal cases, leaving an indelible mark on the world of forensic investigation. And Sheila is joining me today to talk all about life as a forensic medium. We're going to be going over some of the subjects, such as how does she manage this kind of content in her daily life? Is she ever scared about doing this kind of work? We're also going to dabble into some of the techniques that she may use in her forensic mediumship forays, I guess you could say, such as psychometry. But let's just get into the conversation. Sheila, welcome to the show. Great to have you
Hello.
back.
Yes, namaste. Thank you for having me back. It's great to see you again. Thank you.
So for our listener at home, Sheila's been on the show before, and she was just such a fabulous guest that I asked her to come back. And so we're not going to go too much into the conversations that we already covered in our previous episode, because there's a lot more things that we'd like to get into today. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of get into the idea right off the top, Sheila, which is forensic mediumship. For those who might not know what that is, how is it different from traditional psychic or mediumship work?
Being a medium, we're connecting with the other side, the other dimension, spirits who have passed, and we receive messages and give information to the sitter, who's the person coming for the reading, etc. Forensic mediumship is more of data and information. So for me, it's still a connection to the spirit world, and it is a connection to spirit, but it's funneled in a different way. So I receive a lot of messages. Sometimes I'll channel information, like I'll draw a map or I'll draw a person's face. So it's like I'm receiving information that's data and information for possibly a case, crime or something like that. It could be for anything, actually. I actually receive a lot of info. I have a lot of, I don't know, since I saw you last time, I do like concierge now for like a lot of business people, a lot of
Oh,
entrepreneurs. They'll call me, yeah, and they'll ask me questions about their business, and like I'm making choices for their businesses and everything. Yeah, and like I'm
wow.
telling them what spirit's showing me. It's kind of really cool. So it's a lot of data and information. And yeah, am I answering that right?
Yeah, you're
Uh,
answering that right. I mean, you did hit the
yeah,
nail on the head as well when you're talking about like the crime element, because I guess when I
yeah.
think about forensic mediumship, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think about that you're dealing with maybe cases, people who have died unexpectedly,
Right.
maybe people who have,
Hmm.
passed over in like, kind of like
Yes.
dodgy circumstances, a little bit
Hmm.
unknown, how maybe that went down.
Yes, all of the above. I, I
Yeah.
I I tap into all that. So when people will call me for information about how was this person murdered? What was this homicide? Like they need to know information like on a weapon that's missing or like a missing person. For me, I get a lot of area, you know? So like I get a lot of information spirit will give me like on a certain area, and I'll actually receive dreams as well too. So for me, for anybody that's a medium, I actually do mentorship too, and I've been teaching a lot of mediums that are advanced forensics because they get to a
Mm,
certain vibration and spirits wanting them to work more with the energies around them. And I feel like sometimes spirit uses the advanced mediums like, okay, we know how to work this with her. She's been doing this, you know. And but I yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I'm going off
yeah.
the subject a little bit.
No, that's all right. I mean, the thing is, like, when I think about forensic mediumship, it kind of seems to me like you have a niche market. So,
Yeah,
very often, in my experience, you've got evidential mediumship. Evidential
of
mediumship
course.
is when people are doing mediumship where they can prove or they're bringing in
Right.
evidence. It's not like your passed over loved one misses you. It's more like,
Yeah.
this is how they died, or this
Yeah.
is what they wore. This is saying that. I mean,
Right.
forensic is like
Mm.
definitely evidential mediumship. It's just like seems to me that it's almost like this niche that you're kind of
Yes.
in. I know like when I've done mediumship before and I've
Mhm.
done some forensic stuff, it sometimes makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable or scared. And then I know that
Yes.
that's not really helpful
Hmm.
because you can't be scared when you're channeling messages from
Right.
spirit. So
Yes.
have you ever felt that way? I mean,
Well,
maybe your
yeah,
work as a police officer, you're kind of okay with dealing with some of that content, whereas some of us are,
yeah, when I get a case, whatever that may be, yeah, I treat all of a sudden the police officer kicks in on me. You know what I mean? And I'm trained to react to situations in a different way. So I'm not only just
yeah,
being the medium that's connecting, I'm actually being the officer as well. You know, where my training comes in when it comes to cases like I'm not emotionally I've been trained not to be emotionally attached to the cases, but there always is, and it's hard. You know, it was interesting
yeah,
when I was a police officer. You know, you still get upset, isn't that? But it's hard when you're the medium because you're feeling everything. Everything is
yes.
really emotional, and you're using all the aspects of your inner light system. So yeah, it's hard, and I just have to remain focused and when I'm doing it, and try not to think about what's really going on and just stick with the facts and stick with what spirit's showing me. But usually at the end of a case time, there is a release period for me where I become a little bit more human and not the
Mhm.
medium. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what just happened? I can't believe I'm part of this. Oh my God. Okay. And then I honestly, I just can't think about it because it's way too heavy, you know? And I'm like, if I
Yeah.
really thought about it, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night or function, you know? Like some of the
Yeah.
things, you know? And sometimes I do get scared.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the fear in a second. I want to go back to what you're talking about because
Mhm,
so I'll just kind of like relay it to my experience. So I remember when I was
mhm,
first starting mediumship and I would be feeling everything very often of the sitter, like a lot of their pain or their grief, and
mhm,
I would
mhm.
be overcome with emotion and especially when I was doing a lot of my practice stuff, I would cry a lot.
Mhm.
And I
Of
remember one
course.
of my teachers was like, Lauren, they're not coming to you for you to cry everywhere. Like you need to be strong. And I'm like, okay. So
Oh,
it was like
oh,
learning about, she did it in a way that was kind though. I
yeah,
didn't take it personally,
yeah.
but she was saying you need to figure out a way of
Mhm.
feeling the emotion without letting the emotion completely unravel you and
Right,
take you off what the information and the
right.
reading that you're essentially doing. And so I found a way to do that. We worked on some techniques, but
Sure.
one of the things that still remains is that some of
Hmm.
those readings stay with you and you
Hmm.
sometimes reflect on them after. And
Hmm.
I find that that part of it can sometimes be challenging. So, how do
Yeah.
you go from being, especially as an empath, like most
Hmm.
empaths would have a very hard time even going into the kind of content that you're dealing with? Like, I know
Right.
people who Actually, even in your book, you talked about how you were going to go to Maui, and then you had this kind of intuition that spirit was
Mhm,
like, don't go to Maui. And then there
mhm,
was like some stuff that was going over in Maui after you
mhm.
canceled your trip, such as earthquakes and a lot of fear around a
Yep,
nuclear like bomb or something like that. And I
yep,
remember you made
mhm.
a point in your book of saying that that would have been too much for you as an empath to have been around all of
Absolutely.
that. And yet you
Yep.
can deal with murder and
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, so I feel that spirit, yeah, it's really weird. I mean, honestly, my all of my strength and all of my guidance in going through something like that is with my guides. I trust my guides 5 billion trillion%. That they're guiding me. And even when I do cases that I know that I'm safe when I'm doing it because I know they're showing me what I need to do. They wouldn't give me anything that I wouldn't be able to handle. Even though I
yeah,
might that human part of me might come in but as you grow as a medium, you can, like, for me with the cases, as you grow with that, you know how to put it aside. You can put it in a pocket, you know what I mean, and zip it up and not carry it, but just let it go into light. Because even though you have to understand, even though there's crime that's happened, I'm not that crime and I'm not that darkness. I'm actually light in the sense where spirit show me what I need to do to help the people so they can have closure, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so to me, that is a wonderful feeling. So that helps. You know what I mean? I mean, there's nothing better than that. And then I know that it's not me, it's spirit using me as a channel to help these people. So I offer myself to spirit. So I guess what it comes down to is being grateful and having gratitude too, instead of accepting it on a human level, because I totally
Yeah.
understand what you mean. Been teaching for a long time, and I know what you mean by crying and all that, like in class,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my God, all these spirits are coming to me. It's overwhelming. But I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
what happens is when you get to a point in your mediumship, for me anyways, I just it's not that I have a barrier. I don't block it away. It's more of acceptance and gratitude and thank you for letting me help these people. And that
Mm,
overpowers the darkness and the fear. You know, like when in my book, when I had that happen, yeah, I had intuitive feeling. Actually, spirit wasn't telling me. I just knew that I was not supposed to go to Maui. And a lot happened. There was an earthquake, a nuclear bomb threat, everything. And
yeah.
I'm grateful that I didn't go because for whatever reason, spirit didn't want me to be there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, maybe it would have been too much for me. And so my guides are running my life. You know what I mean? Like really. And that's the trick also with mediumship, is to give it up, like to let go of your fear, is to have trust in your higher power, your higher consciousness, whoever's running the show. And once you give it to them, it's much easier. You
Uh,
don't take it on. And that is the key. Like, and for me, yeah, sometimes I'll start bawling my eyes out when I'm giving a reading. And that doesn't make me weak as a medium. It just makes me human, and that I have feeling. And there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with that because that's being real. You know what I mean? And that's just and that's okay. You know.
Yeah.
But if it's ruining your life and you can't function in life and all you are thinking about it, I'll say, oh, come to me. I'll teach you how not to, because there is
Yeah.
a way to live your life. Because when I work on a case, sometimes the case will be 1 hour or 6 months. And so I'm
Yeah.
living my life constantly. I'm receiving dreams, places I'm going, people are coming to me that have to do, like, spirit shows me in different ways, things I need to know on a case. And it's not necessarily just me going into a meditative state, it's everything. So, yeah, so you get into a space where you are the medium, but you are still living that human experience, and still
Yeah.
being you. But I
Yeah.
feel that over time, in the beginning, you can't let fear control you, because this is the way I look at it. Fear is false evidence appearing real, and we're creating that in our minds. And that's our
Yeah.
human part of us controlling
Yeah.
us. So again, just letting go and letting God, letting your higher power take over, and knowing when you are. evidential mediumship, message mediumship. Those are all great. And that's part of the forensics as well. So when you're doing forensics, you're incorporating all your mediumship. Everything that you've ever learned is happening in the forensics. So like if someone comes to me and I'm mentoring them for forensic mediumship, we start at the very beginning, even if they're professionals. And what we do is we create that foundation so they're comfortable in their mediumship, so they master their mediumship. And not just about connecting, but everything, like the emotion, everything that goes with it. And once they master that, we start the forensics, and it's much easier for them to flow and be more accurate when that happens.
Yeah. One of the biggest mistakes that I used to make when I was first practicing was kind of thinking that I knew the story of what I was getting. So where
Mhm.
spirit's giving you these little bits and pieces and you're like, I
Mhm.
know what's going on here. It's like the human pops in. It's like, oh, I
Right.
can see what's
Yes.
going on. Whereas when you kind of like
Yes.
deliver the information, so I
That's
almost
it.
feel like in a way you really have to be objective in what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing. And it sounds
Yes.
to me that when you are done a reading and you're zipping up that, you're kind of able to almost look at it more in an objective way versus
Mm-hmm.
taking that on. Did you learn those
Right.
skills as well in your police work? Because 15 years working in the police, I would imagine that you would have been taught some of the fundamentals about how to let the day go or how to, not take all of that really difficult stuff home with you.
Not really.
Okay.
I didn't really learn that in policing. No, but I learned it with mediumship because I realized what was gonna work best for me and what wasn't. They've given. No, I didn't really learn that in police. I feel that you
Interesting.
are trained to think a certain way as you are an officer, but no, I did not. I never learned meditation or how to release things energetic wise or anything like that. No, but I'll tell you what, I know what you're talking about because what happens is it's all about interpretation. When you start interpreting things, you're thinking. So, like,
Yeah.
say you're in a reading or you're getting a lot of information in a case and you say, oh, I know what this is. I'm feeling this. It's not really feeling because I'm thinking and I'm telling myself what it is. So that means I'm thinking. And what happens is when you think, you block the energy and the flow with spirit
Yes.
showing you. So that's why we practice a lot from the beginning again. I tell it's master when people come to me for forensics, I go, we master your mediumship first. And that is so huge to do that because when you think and you interpret a reading, I mean, during the information coming in, you're controlling it, and you're not allowing spirit to show you, and you
Mm,
can't stop
yeah.
and go. It has to be, for me anyways, it has to be a continual flow. Like I'll
Yeah.
receive all the information, like I'll say, okay, spirit, show me what I need to know. Show me 5 different ways, you know what I mean? Then they'll boom, 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 and I'll just say what I see,
Yeah.
say what I see. But when I see it, I won't say, oh, why is that? Oh, I see the story here. Because if I do that, thinking. And when you're thinking, you block the flow. So you just get
Yeah.
the information, boom, 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 boom. Now, at the end, you might say, "Oh wow, what the hell is this?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you can think about it. But after you've gotten the information, and even yet, like if I'm working on a case, depends what type of case it is. And like what I do is I'll receive all the information I get. Like say it's just words, okay, and I'll write them all down, and then maybe a couple weeks later, or whatever, I'll know about the case because I'll say, okay, I've gotten all the information from spirit. I've gotten dreams, I've gotten landmarks, I've written maps, and they've shown me scenarios, but I still don't know what's going on and who the players are. So then I'll say to them, I'll say, okay, so tell me what's going on, and where is this person uh, killed or something like that, yada, yada, yada. And so then I'll
Yeah.
go back to my landmarks and I'll say, okay, check up this. And then I might pull up a map on the internet. I said, oh, this means this. Okay, I understand this. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm thinking, but
Yes.
then it's not enough. I might need more. So then I have to this is the hard part. You have to clear your thoughts. Everything that you've learned so far, you have to push it aside and say, okay, spirit, show me something I'm not thinking. and show me what I need now, because I need to get down to the needle in the haystack of where is this weapon located? You know, where is this body located? Where did the crime happen? Where are these people now? You know what I mean? And are they in this country? What type of country? You know, and so what I love about it is when I actually just recently, I've had a lot happen. You know, I'm a peace ambassador now. I don't know if
Oh,
I told you that.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you
No.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And but recently I had a maybe about a month or so ago, I was working on a case and I didn't think anything of it. And I woke up because I knew I had had one of those dreams. But it was everything I needed in the case was in one dream. And I had worked on this case for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, and it was great that it worked out well. But I was like, there's nothing better than getting a dream because number one, I'm not thinking, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
spirit showing me, and I was live in the dream, you know, like I'm stand. I'll tell you. You want me to tell you? No.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Love all
So
the
like I was,
stories.
yeah, so I was like, so and make a long story short, there was a young woman who was missing. And I can't tell you everything, you know, but I'll tell you
No, of course.
briefly everything. And when I was in India at the time, and I got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning in India. Can you help this family? Da, la, la, la. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, fine. So I go on the internet, and I'll have to remind you this. This is really interesting. So 4 days before this happened, I'm in the airport and there's something wrong with my flight and I can't leave. So I'm crying. I'm thinking, oh my God, I just want to go home, you know. I'm thinking, oh my God. So I go back to the hotel, nice hotel, and then I get to the hotel. I'm in Delhi. And I'm thinking, oh, there must be a higher reason for this. I don't know. But I'm just going to enjoy myself for 4 days in the hotel, right? So I'm in the hotel and then I get the call. And I said, oh, well, this is the reason why. No, it wasn't 4 days, it was 2 days. And I'm thinking to myself, I would have been on a 22-hour flight and I wouldn't have been able to help this family, right? And
Amazing.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, so that happened. So I get in there and all of a sudden, I give them information. I said, you know, I'm going to head back. I'll get back to you in a week, see if I get any dreams, this and that. Nothing. I didn't get anything. So I met with them one more time. I got them some information. It was good information, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden I get a dream. And there it was. I'm standing. I'll never forget it. Well, because it just happened too. So I'm standing, and far away from me is mountains. Just kind of like this behind me, mountains. And onto the left side of the mountain, I saw people skiing down the mountain with a red ski jacket. Now, the red ski jacket, I used to wear a specific one that had my logo on it when I work outside in the winter for missing persons, right? So I'm like this, I'm looking, and in the dream, and I'm looking to the right, and I notice that it's like a valley, and I turn to the right, and there's this big long rainbow. And I'm looking, and then I look in the center, and there was like clouds and stuff, and I saw this like antenna or whatever. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, I look at my feet, and I can hear, I'll never forget, I can hear the rocks underneath my feet. Like as I switched and I turned around moving, and there's a chalet in front of me with a car with a license plate, and I'm looking at, and then I woke up. And I said, "Oh my gosh." So I wrote everything down. A couple hours later, they went and found the person. And the person was alive. Yeah.
oh my
So, yeah, it was
God. Oh my
amazing.
God.
But I love dreams, but I know that it's a higher calling for me because I'm receiving dreams. Because in the beginning, I didn't really receive dreams. It just kind of happened. I guess once you start working with spirit, they start working with you, and they know that who you can help and who you can't. You know what I mean? Because I work for spirit. I don't work for myself. I could go on all day and get cases here and there, but I don't do that. I just wait for it to come to me. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
wow.
I forget what I was telling you, but it was really cool, you know?
It's
And so
so powerful.
oh, and like and when I talk about it to you, I can still see it and feel it. You know what I mean? And it's because it's in the Akashic records, you know, it's in your files. And so it's really kind of cool. But I love when stuff like that happens. That was a good story, you know what I mean? Because when the woman was still alive, so that was a happy ending, which is a
Oh
wonderful
my
thing.
God.
And you don't get many stories like that. But yeah, so you just but again, I when I got the information, I wrote down like a picture of it, and then I wrote down the landmarks like red jacket, rainbow, and oh, at the end I heard of a name. I can't say it over the air, but I heard
Yeah.
a name. So when I got the name of the town, I went online And thank God for Google Maps. And I went online and I found a place that had rainbow. It was actually the name of a town, Rainbow something. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And then to the
Wow.
left was Red Jacket still Slope or something like that. I'm thinking, oh my God, right? Yeah, it was amazing. It was unbelievable. It
That's
was so accurate. I was like, wow, that's really cool,
It's
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. But I think we have to
yes,
also kind of reinforce the idea that you just trust wholeheartedly the information that you
absolutely.
get. Whereas I think,
Yes.
very often we get in our own way
Hmm.
where we go, is that or is
Yes.
that not? Yeah. So, and you trust your guides.
That is the battle with all my students. I try to help them with that. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was about setting boundaries as well. I remember I talked
Mhm.
to a guest a while ago, and she'd had this situation where she was in her bath at the end of a long day, and all of a sudden she looked and there was a dead girl on her toilet trying to talk to her. And she was like,
Oh, yeah.
nope, this is my time off. This is not when I'm
Hmm.
working.
Hmm.
And that kind of really propelled her to have boundaries in place and to say, these are the times when I'm available, and these are the times when I need
Absolutely.
my own life back and my own opportunity to,
Yeah.
refresh and rejuvenate. How have you set those boundaries with spirit, with your team, especially when you're doing
Hmm.
things like getting dreams, especially when you're working on cases for, say,
Hmm.
6 months? It sounds to me that there might not be a lot of work-life balance, unless, of course, you aren't looking at this in that same way.
Well, I'll tell you what. I understand what you're saying because I do have the student actually that's struggling with that right now. And
Yeah,
the key remember, so I'm going to use this student as an example. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
she's like, well, I'm seeing this. I go here, I see this. They're coming up to me. They're coming, hey, help me. You know what I mean? Do whatever. And I'm like, you're walking around open. And what I mean by that is you're allowing that to happen because there's no, like you said, healthy boundary. And remember, your boundaries are set. Your guides are the ones who are doing everything. So the key to it is, me anyways, is you don't want to pick up hitchhikers. That's what I call them, hitchhikers. You don't want
yeah.
hitchhikers, okay?
No.
Spirit is everywhere, and not all spirit is in the light. There's dark energies too. You don't want to pick up hitchhikers. So the key is your guides. When I have a communication with my guides, I ask them to protect me all the time, only show me what I need to know.
Yeah.
And I trust that. I have to trust them, like you said, but I don't allow myself to be open, like walking around or like say if I'm in the bath and because the communication is with my guide. So if I'm seeing a spirit, I ask my spirit guides protect me with white light. Because if there's a spirit coming at me, my guides are not showing me that because I'm not communicating with my guides. There's a spirit coming to me first before my guides come to me. You see?
Ah,
Yeah. So that means I'm picking up hitchhikers and my boundaries are not good. My spirit guides are not protecting me because I'm not communicating with them to do that. You see?
oh,
Because there's
right. So giving them the
yes.
role.
Yes. And
Uh,
remember, we're working for the spirit world. We're working for our guides. We're not working for all the spirits of the earth. We're working for our guides because they're in a higher mm, angelical level where of love and light. You know what I mean? We're working in the light. We're not working in the darkness. So we
yeah.
don't want to pick up hitchhikers. So it's really important that you set healthy boundaries. But remember, we don't set those boundaries. Our guides do. Our guides are the ones who protect us, and that is the key. Like the
Yeah.
negative energies look for that. They want to come in. They'll come in. You know what I mean? And you'll say, "Oh no, white light, white light." Then you say, "Okay, spirit guide, show me what I need to know, or block this person from me." You know what I mean? And you'll just know. You know what I mean? And so the key is
Yes.
community. So a lot of times, we live in the human world. We live in civilization. So we're humans. So we control everything in our lives. We bring everything into our lives subconsciously, consciously, and subconsciously. When we're working with spirit, it's different because uh and these beings are enlightened. Our spirit guides, our energies, our higher power are enlightened, and it's a higher vibration of the highest frequency, which is a love vibration, and then which is a light vibration, not a dark vibration. If you ever see anything negative, you're not in the light. Your guides are not unless you have dark guides, because
Yes.
people do that, so you're not in the light. When you hear a medium or someone saying, well, something very negative or evil in the reading, like almost like belittling the person or telling them they need to do that, it's like a form of control, but it's also darkness. So that should be a caution to sign you that that person's not working in the light, even though they think they may be, but they're not. Because when you work in energy with with enlightened beings of light, love, and connection, of higher power, of positive light, love, you're
Yeah.
not going to ever have any of that happen. And it's because it's a different frequency and a different vibration. So it's really
Yeah.
important to pay attention to that. But what happens is the human being gets in the way, is what happens. We have to, so when we want to connect with the universe and we want to connect with our higher power, there's a state that you have to be in. Do you have to close your eyes? Absolutely not. I was brought up Roman Catholic, and we'd pray to St. Jude, St. Michael, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me, St. Anthony, St. Christopher, and we give our power to them and know that they're going to show us what we need to know at the right time. It's the same thing. Okay,
Yeah.
it's our higher power. So it's important to have a higher consciousness and understand that we're not in control. A lot of mediums, what I've seen in the past is that they think that, well, I have the power, I can connect. Listen, everybody can connect. It's just a matter of tapping into it and working with your guides. Some of us have a calling,
Yeah.
some of us don't. Some of us choose to have a calling, and we choose our life, we choose our existence. But ultimately, our higher power, our angels, are in control. We're not. And so the key in the mediumship is to understand that when you're working in mediumship, you're an enlightened being, that your inner soul, your higher power, your inner light system is who you are, and this is who you are. You're not being the human being, because that's different. It really is
Yeah.
separate, you know?
100%. You're being the channel. One thing that I do all the time is I always pray. And I remember recently I was invited to an event and or like to go to somebody's house and I didn't want to go and I felt like uncomfortable about it, but I didn't really know how to get myself out of the situation either. So I
Okay.
just prayed. I prayed and I prayed and I was like, if I'm supposed to go, let me go. Like if it's for the highest good of all concerned. And if I'm not, then let me gracefully, not even go. And it just dissolved. The whole situation never
Wow.
eventuated. And that's what's so powerful, I think, about prayer is when you go, there's something that's not the right fit here, and I don't know how
Mhm.
to kind of gracefully get out of it. And then you hand it
Mhm.
over to your guides, and your guides will always protect you. And I also
Right.
trusted that if I was meant to go there, I would have been protected and safe, and there would have been something that, maybe I would have got, or there would have been a reason that I was supposed to go
Right.
there. But I kind of trusted that that my guides
Mhm.
and that my team would take care of me. One of the things you
Yes.
mentioned is that you sometimes have experienced fear or being scared when you've been doing a reading. And I'd like to ask you a little bit about how you work through that. And at the same time, I was
Mm.
also hoping you could comment on, I can't remember who mentioned this to me, but I remember hearing at one point that when you're doing sometimes like forensic type work, that you
Mhm.
kind of should keep it under wraps because not everyone likes that kind of work. And I would say it's probably people of a negative energy that might be threatened by
Mhm.
this. I'm not sure. So I was just wondering if
Okay.
you've ever felt like that
Oh
yourself.
yeah. Oh yeah. So I'll stick with the last question first.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
biggie.
so like for example, a lot of people aren't open to the idea. It all comes back to, a lot of people are ignorant. It's not their fault. This is just the way they were social and brought up to understand. Like
Yeah,
in our Western culture, in where I'm from, up in Boston, if you're connecting, you're a witch. It doesn't make you spiritual. There's something wrong with you. You're evil. Well, that's
right.
just not what it is. If you go to
Yeah,
India, everybody's connected. Everyone's meditating. Everyone's in the light. It's
yeah,
complete.
yeah.
It's different. Different places, different genres.
Even Sheila, in your book, you said you didn't want the gift when you first
Yeah.
were
Oh
getting, you were
gosh,
like,
I
I
was the
don't want
biggest
this
skeptic.
gift. I don't want
Yes.
this.
Yes, when I was little, my mom used to go, "Oh, she's psychic." I'm like, "Why is she saying that to me?" It would
Yeah.
hurt my feelings. You know? And
Yeah.
like I never even went to a psychic for a reading. Like my dad taught me meditation, but I went on a gift certificate and I was blown away. And I came home and I told my ex at the time and I said to him, if you want to divorce me, it's okay. I have to do this. He's like, what are you do? What are you doing? I'm like, mediumship. He's like, well, what's that? And I'm like, like readings. It's like, oh, great. I'm like, it's okay. You can divorce me. I understand, but I have to do this. I will die if I don't do this. It came that
Oh,
strong in me. But yeah. So what do you do? Well, you can't change everybody, and the only people that you can help are the people that are willing to be open to what you're doing and your connection, and that's okay. So you understanding that it's not your mission to change everyone when they become
yeah.
enlightened at a certain time in their life, and they may. I've seen it happen several times where people are very close. 10 years later, they're like, "Oh wow, I just was a different person then." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they didn't
Yeah.
understand because a lot of it is their fear you know so like so you have to like titles like okay so like how do I say it? Okay, so like I didn't like to be called the psychic. And my
Yeah.
friends are like, Sheila, you have to put psychic medium on your website so people know what you do. I said, but I'm not that, because I understood what people meant, felt. You have to understand, I was in a
Yeah.
very policing community. My father was chief of police, very political. People are going to judge me. And so I'm
Oh,
like, okay,
yeah.
so oh my God.
Did y'all hear Sheila's a nutter?
Yeah, pretty much. And so I put it up
Yeah.
there and I was like, hey, you know what? These people don't pay my bills. They don't come home and have coffee with me. So why do I care? But it was that
Yeah.
social and that society thing going on. And yeah, and sometimes still to this day I hate, should I change that? I'm not kidding you. This is what I say
Yeah.
because I'm a peace ambassador as well too. People, well, they only know me as a spiritual advisor. What are they going to think if I'm a medium? You see what I'm saying? And like different areas of the country in the United States are Bible Belt, and I'm going to hell,
Yeah.
and and it's
Oh,
just like they
yeah.
just yeah, but it's very hypocritical, but they're very conditioned. It's just the human experience, I guess. So I have to know that I'm working for spirit, and it's all pure love and connection and light. I'm helping thousands of people. I'm helping
Yeah.
myself grow at the same time. So what's wrong with that? You know what I mean? But there
Yeah.
are dark people out there that do that ruin it for everybody else, just like there's bad people in all professions. Yeah, so what was the other question?
It was
Fear.
about also when you're getting, readings and you get a little bit uncomfortable or scared. I remember I was doing a
Oh,
reading one time
yes.
and it was like a practice session I was in.
Hmm.
And I remember I was like, oh, I could tell something had gone on here that was not good and made me feel
Yes.
really uncomfortable. And so
Yeah.
that really affected my ability to complete the reading
Hmm.
properly because I got afraid. Um,
Hmm.
and that was when
Yes.
the human steps in fact. So, there we
Yes.
have to come back, get the flow going again, high vibe and all that kind of stuff. But
Yes, and that's where you
yeah,
have to stay strict with your higher power. I remember
yeah,
being in a reading one time, and like the lady started talking in tongues. I'll never forget it. And I was younger in my mediumship at the time, and I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, relax, relax. And I said, white light. In my mind, I'm going, white light, white light, white light, white light. Protect me, spirit guides. The whole time. That's what I said the whole time. And
yeah,
then she would look for my response. I'm like, oh, go ahead. And I did not give her uh any facial expressions or anything. I said, okay, well, I guess our reading is done and and then I'm not kidding you. I cannot make this up. It's ready for payment now, because I don't do that now. People just pay me before they come. This is part of the
yeah,
reason why. This is the
yeah,
reason why. And I'm going to tell you why. This is funny. So I'm sitting behind my desk. I had a studio in an old mill. And it was a nice, contemporary, beautiful room and this and that. And so she comes over to and I had a big desk, thank God, right? And she started jumping around. I'm not kidding you. And she's talking in tongues, spinning around, talking. And I'm thinking, okay, Sheila, just keep writing. I was writing the receipt down. Don't you? And I kept on saying, Sheila, don't you dare look at her. And I kept on writing the receipt. And you stay focused. I was coaching myself, and I said, okay, white light, spirit guides, protect me. Let's get her out of here. This is not healthy. And in my gut, God said to me, do not react to this. Do not let her know you are fearful of her, you know? So I stood there. I said, oh, well, that was interesting. Here's your receipt. Thank you for paying me. You have a great day. I'll open the door for you, let you out. Why now? And I had to put on the front. And I was like, oh my God. After she left, I saged everything. I'm saying
Yeah.
prayers. I'm thinking, oh my God, what was that? Right? Yeah. So I don't know about you, but like just like when you work in the light, the negativity tries to come to you, try
It's
to
like you
suck
get
you away.
challenged.
Yes, you do. And
Yeah.
just like Jesus Christ, the same thing. You work in the light, the more that's going to happen. So the more you have to protect yourself, and spirit will protect you. God will protect
Mm,
you, and this is the universe will protect you. But you will be challenged. Absolutely. You will be challenged, but as long as you don't feed into it.
yeah. When I was first practicing, I remember one of my mentors said, "Now you're probably going to be challenged. You're probably going to have like
Mhm.
some challenging situations that come because now you're stepping
Yep.
into this other, world or whatever." I'm paraphrasing here, but I remember I went, I don't know about that." Anyway, a little while later, I ended up having this dream, and it was around me, and I was like in a car, and there was some kind of accident going on, but there was like a really negative entity in my dream.
Oh.
And I remember they were trying to get at me, and I was calling in
Mm.
Archangel Michael. I was like calling in
Oh, good.
Archangel Michael, and I'm at the point now where that should just naturally happens for me. Like I just call
Good.
in the angels, and they just do the work.
Mm-hmm.
But in this dream, I'm calling in Archangel Michael and it's not working. And I remember thinking, oh no, what do I? And then I went, wait a minute, I have the power myself. And I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly what happened. I wrote my dream down, but I don't have it in front of me. But I ended up putting all this love and light, and I did like a light explosion or something like that, or I grew
Yeah.
myself. I can't remember, but something happened where I took the
Wow.
responsibility of dealing with the situation
Good.
myself. And I remember it's
Yeah.
so cool when we get those dreams where we can practice sometimes
Yeah.
some of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it
Wow.
is
Yeah.
coming down to you just going, all right, I can do this. I can be my
Right. Yeah.
own role model, I can coach myself through this, damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see someone listening to this saying, "Oh, I'm not going to do that. Forget it." But
Yeah.
it's not like that. It's not like that. It's like, what I mean? It's just like learning to protect yourself, but you having trust in your higher power and the power within you as well. Your inner
Yeah.
light system when you're sleeping, wherever that is that you have that control to protect yourself and to create healthy boundaries, because you're
Yeah.
working in the light. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful place to be. It's wonderful. I love teaching. I love watching students grow into the light. And it's quite an experience. I don't know about you, but I call myself the energy junkie because it feels
Yes.
so great after doing a reading or even working on a case. It's not that I'm solving a case or helping them. It's more of the energy. And like when I do message mediumship, like which is like a reading, someone comes in, I connecting with their loved ones. It's a different energy when I'm doing forensics. So it's like much quicker. It's like this constantly, like
Ah.
when I'm receiving stuff, and the energy is a I don't want to say higher frequency is what it is. It feels like it's coming in, and it feels different. It's like being in a movie. That's what it feels like. It's really kind
Oh.
of cool. Yeah, and so that's kind of cool.
What are some of the cases, like even some of the smaller cases that have made an impact on you? I mean, you just shared one where you were able to find a missing person and I would say save
Yeah,
their life where they were still alive.
yeah,
What are some of the cases that have come through that you've gone, that's always really just stuck with me? It was a small thing, but there's a lesson there, or there was just
yeah.
some resolution that you wouldn't have seen that came out of it. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I want to say that all cases I learned something, because you learn about the people, even the mechanics of the reading. And what I mean by that is the people involved, even the parents. Say if there's parents involved, or an agent, not so much agents, but more of the family that's involved with the crime, or
Mm.
different suspects. It's like sometimes it's like reading a book. No, seriously, it's like, oh wow. And so it's hard. not to think what's next, because honestly, you never know what's next. You never know what's coming. So it's like, oh wow, it's an adrenaline rush is really what it is. But as far as uh, I would say, mm, I'm just amazed, honestly, at the end of like reading, not readings, the cases, um, the love. I know that sounds weird, but the love of uh, the life lesson of, say someone's deceased, right? The
Yeah.
life lesson and the people around the crime, even suspects or family or friends, and watching them and their experiences.
Is it sort of getting the closure or going through like even forgiveness?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Forgiveness, guilt, everything, the whole nine yards. And watching that is pretty miraculous, because I almost feel sometimes like, say, if the person's passed, you get to witness the lessons that the people from that person's passing, what you watch people grow sometimes, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm that and a lot of the times you see people's life change, not just for just sadness, but they grow spiritually as well, in a sense where you see the mechanics of everything. You see more of life is what I want to say. And there's a distinguishing part of a part about the crime, the whole the whole existence of that spirit, that's past. And I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just feel like the whole thing is just amazing. I don't want to say any one particular case, but I find that um I really like it when I get dreams, and like one of my I always go back to the first cases. I don't know why I do that, but I always do, because they were the prominent ones in the beginning, like I had a little
Yes.
boy, and I seen his head on on top of his head, and he showed me everything in 2 weeks in the dreams. I knew everything in the crime, but he took me through everything, and I didn't ask for it. It just happened, So that was kind of impactful, where I just and that was a cold case too. So I was honored that I was chosen to help him.
Hi. Thanks so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a review where you listen to your podcasts and share it with your friends. Thank you. New episodes every Thursday.